nagbabalik dito sa Department of Health. Magandang tanghali po sa inyo lahat. Ako si Braggy Braganza. At ang topic po natin for today, bakit daw dumadami ang di kumakain ng rice? Okay? Ang guest po natin ngayon ay isang madaming kurso na tinapos to si Doc. ENT, Facial, Plastic and Rhinoplasty Surgery and Low Carb and Fasting Practitioner. Okay, makakasama po natin siya ng ilang sandali dito sa ating studio para malaman natin kung ano yung mga sagot sa inyong mga katanungan. In the meantime, pwede na po kayo mag-send ng inyong mga messages sa ating hotlines na nabanggit natin kanina. Okay, 84701 50254 ang ating hotline. Text line 0999-376-6768. Okay, live na rin po tayo sa ating Facebook page DWIZ at YouTube. Pwede na rin po kayo mag-post down below abang pinapanood ninyo yung ating video na to. So, puntahan nyo kami sa www.dwiz882am.com at i-download ang DWIZ app sa iOS at Android devices. So pwede ninyo kami bisitahin. Yan yung tamang term na iniisip kanina. Bisitahin na ninyo kami para mapanood ninyo kami at ma-enjoy ninyo ang ating programa ngayon na bakit dumadami ang di kumakain ng rice, ang ating pong topic for today. Bakit kaya maraming hindi na kumakain ng mga rice nowadays? Di ba parang naririnig natin dyan na yung mga iba, ayoko na muna mag-rice, o yung iba, half rice muna ako, yung iba, one rice muna ako. Pero little by little, gradually, yung mga tao nagsusubok ng mga minimal na intake ng kanin, pagtagal kaya na nila na walang kanin sa katawan. Kayo, kaya nyo ba yun? Oo. Di ba parang mahirap, di ba? Pag sinabi ko niya rin, Doctor, tanggal muna yung rice para bumaba lahat yung mga resulta ng mga blood chem natin or whatsoever. Siyempre, isipin mo, Doc, di ko kaya yun. And just by thinking about it, minsan iniisip mo pa lang, hindi mo na talaga kaya kasi nakasanayan na natin yung rice since bata tayo. Lalo na nung nag-start tayo mag-school. Siyempre, yung mga pressure sa eskwelahan, yung mga deadline, yung mga subject natin, lalo na pag nag-engage ka sa sports, talagang lahat ng mga tao kanin, lalo na dito sa Asia. And sa Philippines, dito sa Pilipinas, napakaraming kumakain ng tao, maski na mga merienda. All of them eat rice. Yung iba nga, 2 pa, 3, kasi daw minsan nasiskip nila yung mga meals and then later on, pag naskip nila yung meals, akala nila okay na sila, nakapag-diet na nila. Pero yung after effect nun, ang ano lang to, observation ko lang after effect nun, yung mga hindi nag-rice kunyari ng lunch, pag nagmerienda yun, babawi yun, napakaraming rice na. So instead na 1 rice lang yung nakain nila dun sa lunchtime, pagdating ng merienda, nagdadalawa yun, parang bumabawi. Which I think is not good, di ba? Parang imbes na isa lang nakain mo, dumodoble pa. Dahil nag-skip ka, hindi sanay yung katawan mo na wala kang rice, mamaya hindi mo alam dumodoble ka. O yung mga iba naman na hindi nagmerienda, let's say ganon. Pagdating ng gabi, feeling nila, diet ako, hindi ako nagmemerienda or less lang yung merienda. Sa gabi naman, dumadami yung food intake nila, yung kanin na papasarap. Lalo na daw sabi nila, masarap magluto si Mrs. and all this and that. Masarap ang ulam. So, dumadami ang rice intake nila. Imbes na konti lang, minimal or no rice at all. Okay, so ready na po tayo ngayon. So send nyo na yung mga questions ninyo sa ating guest doctor for today who will discuss about bakit dumadami ang di kumakain ng rice. She is an ENT, Plastic and Rhinoplasty Surgery. Siguro pwede natin din pag-usapan po yun, ano? And also low carb and fasting practitioner. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo Tan. Hello, magandang tanghali po, Doc. Welcome aboard to Department of Health.
Magandang tanghali din po, Sir Braggy. Maraming salamat for having me here.
Okay, nice to have you po. At buti naman po nakapunta ka ngayon despite of your very hectic schedule at mainit na ngayon sa labas sa pagbiyahe, di ba? Okay, so it says here po na ENT, Facial, Plastic and Rhinoplasty Surgery kayo and low carb and fasting practitioner. Siguro dun sa una po, we can talk about that later. Pero ano po ba yung low carb and fasting practitioner?
So that is just basically a description kung ano yung nutrition that I usually advise to my patient. Kasi generally, wala namang specific diet talaga yung sinasabi. Di ba nga, as what you mentioned, when you say on diet, automatically parang babawasan yung kakainin.
Yes, oo.
Generally, halos lahat ng kakainin. And if I will ask you, ano ang description ng diet sa'yo, siguro sasabihin mo, hindi na ako kakain ng lechon, hindi na ako kakain ng cake, hindi na kakain ng dessert. But low carb and fasting nutrition as a lifestyle, yun yung pinapractice namin because we noticed na yung ating palang mga sakit, especially lifestyle diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure, fatty liver sa mga babae, PCOS, PCOS, infertility, maraming iba't ibang manifestation, ang lifestyle diseases, and iisa pala ang kanilang root cause, and that is inflammation or pamamaga sa katawan. And inflammation, yung general na reason bakit maraming inflammation sa katawan na hindi natin malaman-laman kung ano ba talaga yung pinanggalingan is actually the diet na considered natin as standard diet. And that standard diet is actually loaded with lots of sugar, lots of carbohydrate na nagpapataas ng ating insulin level sa katawan, at kapag panay taas yung insulin level natin sa katawan, then yung inflammation level natin ay tumataas din. There is such a thing as what we call as insulin resistance. Kapag insulin resistance na, merong iba dyan, lumalaki yung tiyan, umiitim yung batok, tumataas yung blood pressure, tumataas yung blood sugar, yung triglycerides tumataas din. Those are already part of metabolic syndrome na tinatawag na natin na nanggagaling sa insulin resistance. Insulin is a good hormone. Pero hindi dapat ito parating mataas. Yung kailangan kasi natin break from food intake. For the longest time that we have been evolving as humans, yung struggle natin is kung paano makakain. Yun yun, for survival.
You just want to eat.
Yes, but now our struggle actually is not how much we can eat, but how little supposedly we should eat. Kasi yung problema natin ngayon is food abundance, hindi na scarcity. So yung kailangan natin ngayon, paano natin pigilan? Kasi for those millions of years, nasanay yung katawan natin na naghahanap tayo ng pagkain. Yung actually, yung katawan natin, sanay sa kakaunti yung kain.
Ganun ba?
But ngayon, sobrang dami na yung pagkain available na 24/7. Hindi ka na kailangang lumakad pa or maghanap or mangaso or mangisda just for you to eat. Isang text mo lang, isang order mo lang. Meron
and
na.
it's all available around you.
And the worst part is meron tayong refrigerator sa ating pagkain. In the middle of the night, hindi mo kailangan magtago because food is there. And what is that signal? Yung signal na binibigay sa katawan natin is harvest season. Para kang parating naka-harvest season. Harvest season by nature, dapat nangyayari once or twice a year lang. You will load up with fruits and all of those na harvest, and then it will be converted into fats for supposedly the other half time of the year na dapat walang masyadong pagkain. Nag-aayuno ka, nagpa-fasting ka for you to burn those fats. But if wala kayong time na nag-aayuno kayo, nagpa-fasting kayo, then pile up yung fats sa katawan. And mind you, right now, the people have adapted na hindi na lahat tumataba.
Because
kahit ganong kain nila, hindi na sila tumataba, like the fats that we see as obese or overweight. Pero ano yung epekto sa kanila? Kidney stone, gallbladder stone, tumors, may mga bukol-bukol, asthma, allergies. Those are still inflammation.
And they're called inflammation too. I thought inflammation is just, like pamamaga ng mga joint, yung mga pag,
pamamaga is, inflammation is with edema, so yun yung swelling, merong redness, so namumula. Nagkakaroon din ng pain, so that's rubor. And then heat, calor, so those are mga signs of inflammation. But the inflammation that we see in our joints are already macro-inflammation, malalaki na. The most dangerous inflammation are the ones we cannot see, nangyayari sa ating mga ugat na mga liliit, mas maliit pa sa ating buhok.
Very fine.
Very fine. Those are what we call capillaries.
Capillaries, okay.
So sa ating, ano yung mga unang nadadamage yan? Yung kidneys natin, it's full of capillaries. Yung mata natin, it's full of capillaries. That's why
yung mga nerves doon, very small.
Diabetics and then hypertensive people, mataas yung blood pressure and blood sugar, yun yung mga unang ina-attack.
So the capillaries are the swelling of the smaller veins?
Capillaries is a minute, parang end part sila. Doon nagtatagbo ang arteries and veins. So doon sila nag-exchange. So they're very, very fine na very prone to damage also.
Yes.
So kapag sila ay nagda-damage, micro-damage, it can manifest later on as inflammation, as high blood pressure na hindi mawala-wala kahit doble-doble na yung iniinom na gamot.
Grabe.
So all of these actually merong root cause, and that's inflammation, and majority, although hindi lahat, majority of the inflammation are coming from too much insulin load. And that too much insulin load is usually coming from too much glucose load or yung metabolic block ng ating carbohydrates. And that is why, yun yung topic natin this afternoon.
Ang galing, Parang introduction pa lang pa yan. Ang dami na yung narinig na information, di ba? Thank you very much, Doc. Okay, so what you were saying, dami kasi information na nagulat ako na about, overloading ng carbs and all this and that. Kasi sabi niyo mga tao, pag gabi nagugutom sila, the food is available anywhere, everywhere. Magte-text ka lang, magme-message ka lang, the food will be delivered to you. Kasi yung mga reactions ng mga tao, in reality, what I hear from, generally, yung mga tao sabi nila, nagugutom ako okay lang yun. Parang gano'n. They don't think about na ang dami mo na nakain all throughout the day, and pag nagutom ka, yung meal na yon is almost the same na yung mga na-consume mo earlier or doble pa nun. Hindi nila na-rationalize na kumain na ako ng ice cream kanina, huwag lang mag-sweets ngayong gabi. Kunyari, minimal na lang na rice, yung gano'n. What can you say to our listeners po na paano nila mako-combat yung gano'n, that craving na gusto ko ng ganito, that would lead to overloading na po ng carbs?
Okay. So the first thing that I want to tell them is, it's not your fault. Hindi nyo kasalanan. Hindi kayo walang disiplina kung bakit parati kayong nagugutom. It's actually just metabolism and our human biochemistry at work. If you will eat one rice in the morning, tataas yung blood sugar mo. Supposedly, our blood sugar ranging around 100 lang yan. But when you eat 1 cup of rice, it can spike up to 250.
Wow!
It can spike up to 250.
What more pag doble?
How much more if double? Or unlimited?
Yeah.
Diba?
Yes.
So the moment it spikes up, magti-trigger ng insulin release yan para pababain. However, so in 1 hour to 2 hours time, pabababain niya ng insulin because it shoots up. Sometimes, yung insulin response, sobrang taas din. Babagsak na naman siya. Sometimes, even lower than normal. So that's why. Because yung insulin na ni-respond, sobrang dami. So lahat ng cells mo mag-open, papasok lahat ng sugar. Lahat ng glucose na nakain mo. I'm mentioning sugar coming from rice because hindi alam ng lahat. Ang glucose po ay isang part ng carbohydrate. Ang rice ay isang starch. So it's a complex carbohydrate. So ang glucose is simple carbohydrate. Kung ilalagay natin yan sa pera, yung description ko niyan, yung starch o yung rice ay papel na pera. Magaan. You can carry 10,000 in your pocket. Hindi ka mabibigatan. But imagine carrying 10,000 1 peso coins. Sobrang bigat, di ba? That's exactly the same with sugar and kanin. Ang isang cup ng kanin, merong average 40 to 50 na glucose.
Wow.
Kapag ito ay naging breakdown na sa ating tiyan and it will become glucose. So, alam nyo ba na ang equivalent ng 40, minimum na lang, 40, say for example, you're using brown rice. So, nasa 40 grams lang yung net carbohydrate niyan as glucose. It's also equivalent to 10 teaspoons of white sugar.
Ang dami.
So, hindi ka naglagay ng asukal sa iyong kape. Pero yung kanin mo na 2 cups of rice, or say for example, 1 cup of rice, is equivalent actually to 10 teaspoons of sugar. So, that's the sugar load that you are giving to your body. So, kapag tataas niyan, yung blood sugar, papasok si insulin, babagsak, in as little as 2 hours, gutom na ulit. Because your body should always maintain that normal blood sugar level of 70 to 100.
Okay, so that's the reason why nagugutom din sila ulit.
Yes. And there's only one way to get off of that cycle.
How? Yeah.
Kasi, yung una muna, iintindihin natin that as you keep on doing that, the moment that you eat 1 cup of rice, in as long as 18 hours from your last last rice intake, you will be craving for rice and carbohydrates the whole time. So you have to break because your body still has insulin. Insulin doesn't go low fast. So, kahit mababa na yung blood sugar mo, pwedeng nandyan pa rin si insulin. So, as long as nandyan si insulin, mas bababa at mas bababa yung iyong blood sugar. Yung symptoms of hypoglycemia na parang hihimatayin, iinit yung ulo, sasakit yung ulo, yung nanginginig, pinapawisan, kasi naghahanap na talaga ng kanin. And the moment na iinom sila ng isang soft drinks or isang candy, na nagiging happy sila. But you are actually inside that vicious cycle. Natatrap ka sa loop na yun. Loop of being dependent on sugar. So there's two ways to get out of that.
Sige po,
First is, you can wait until 18 hours na mawala yung effect ng insulin. So that is the beauty of fasting.
That's why we need that.
That's why we need that. So sobrang tagal. And not everyone can do that in an instant. Sometimes you will do intermittent fasting, start with 12 hours, 14 hours. That's already good enough. And then, after that, if ever you can sustain yung 18 hours na wala mo nang kinakain, after that, you can reset your body by no longer consuming anything that will spike your blood sugar. And then, continue that at hindi ka na magkakaroon ng ganong episodes.
At saka yung craving.
Yung cravings nawawala. And then, what you can do as another part, if hindi nyo kaya mag-fasting ng 18 hours straight,
bibigla ka,
you can still eat. Okay? Pero, hindi kailangan rice. Hindi kailangan...
Tsaka minimal amount lang.
Hindi kailangan sugar. Ang problem with minimal is, kapag kumakain ka, pero konti-konti, kahit half cup of rice lang, it will still give that sugar high.
Maski konti.
Sugar. That's why if you want to lower down your glucose na levels sa katawan at inflammation gawa ng insulin, it's like all or nothing. And then, it's like all or nothing. As long as you keep having that kind of sugar, hindi ka mawawala. Kasi ang body natin, it works this way. Naturally, kung walang sugar, alam mo ba na ang natural process ng katawan natin ay mag-burn ng fats?
Talaga?
However, fat burning is being blocked the whole time. Ang blocker ng fat burning? Insulin is a fat blocking hormone. Hindi ma-activate ang makinarya ng katawan natin na nagtutunaw ng taba para gawing energy as long as merong insulin. So, if you will keep on eating, like hindi pa nga bumaba yung insulin mo ng 18 hours, kakain ka na naman. So, you are on that vicious cycle. Kaya kahit parati kang gutom, ay hindi ka pa rin pumapayat. Dumadami lang ng dumadami. So, your body is actually storing up all of those glucose, all of those sugar. Nakastore lang sila. At ano ang nangyayari sa extra glucose sa ating katawan na hindi naman convert into energy?
It stays in your blood.
Some stays in your blood if you're diabetic kasi hindi na sila makapasok because it already reached the limit. But ang katawan natin is not designed to store glucose. So meron siyang makinarya to store it into a way na pwede siyang pang-imbak. Ano yung pang-imbak na yun?
You can use it later.
Yes. And that pang-imbak na form is actually fats. So yung tinapay, yung kanin na kinakain ninyo ay pwedeng maging taba sa loob ng inyong katawan.
Maski bread lang
Maski bread lang. So for those na like wala pang sakit, they can tolerate some amount from time to time. But what do we notice by the time you reach 35, 40, 45? It's like normal now for us to hear people having diabetes or nagsimula. So ilan ang maintenance mo ngayon?
Ganun na yung tanongan. Ilan milligrams iniinom mo?
Ilang beses or ano na. And then, no matter how religious you are with your medications, by the time you do a follow-up a year, tataasan na naman yung dose or mag-a-add na naman. Because those medicine are going to help, like lower your blood pressure, lower your blood sugar, but it's not addressing the root cause.
Ayun,
the inflammation will still there. So, parang siyang band-aid technique. Yes, na i-improve, na ko-control, pero yung inflammation on other end, nandun pa rin. That's why there are so many na normal yung lipid profile, normal yung kanilang blood sugar, kasi very religious sa gamot. Pero all of a sudden, heart attack.
It's still there,
pa rin. Because the component of those are inflammation plus lowered, plus mataas na cholesterol, and that cholesterol might not actually be related to your food intake. Yun na ang bagong research ngayon.
Sige.
Kaya kung titingnan mo, sobrang dami na matataas yung triglycerides, matataas yung taba sa katawan, kahit hindi na kumakain ng baboy, hindi na kumakain ng karneng matataba.
Pero mataas pa rin.
Mataas pa rin because your body will actually create cholesterol, will actually create triglycerides, especially bad cholesterol, VLDL, kapag sobra-sobra yung kinakain nating fats, and most importantly, kapag mataas yung insulin level natin sa katawan natin kasi hindi sila magagamit as energy. But if those fats, those cholesterol ay nagagamit as energy, they are not dangerous. They are not dangerous, but they become dangerous kapag napapile up lang sila dyan.
Nasastore sa katawan natin.
Sila yung nagkakakos ng pagbara sa ugat. And that happens when your body is high in cholesterol and high in sugar at the same time.
Okay, alamin po natin, tanong natin kay Doc later on kung paano natin ma-manage yung ating mga sugar levels na yan. So, pause muna po tayo ngayon. Meron tayong commercial break and news break na magkasunod po yan. We'll be back with more dito lang po sa Department of Health.
Kasama sina Maru Pahati Sarne at si Bragi Braganza. Kasama ang mga totoong eksperto. DWIZ, DOH, Department of Health.
Tuwing Sabado, alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng gabi. Abangan dito sa DWIZ ang isang malayang talakayan tungkol sa negosyo, trabaho, mga benepisyo ng makabagong teknolohiya. Sa programa Mag-usap Tayo, kasama sila Monchet at Chris Laranyo. Laging abangan tuwing Sabado dito sa DWIZ 882. Sa gitna ng pandemya, palakasin ang resistensya. Siguraduhin ang 7 hanggang 8 oras na tulog. Kumain ng masustansya at manalangin. Isang paalala mula sa MX3. Be extraordinary with MX3.
Hello, beautiful people! Ako po ang inyong tita Winnie Cordero. Matanong po ninyo, bakit panatag ang loob ko sa MX3? Dahil ito ay tested and proven na may alpha, beta at gamma mangosteen. Mga natural na nutrients mula sa mangosteen. Meron din itong seal of quality excellence at manufactured sa GMP at ISO certified na planta. MX3 is my choice. Tunay, natural at original.
Papalakas ng papalakas, palinaw ng palinaw. Mga balita at impormasyong naiintindihan dahil malinaw mong nalaman. Tutok lang sa DWIZ. Mula umaga hanggang gabi. Updated on air and online. DWIZ. Nagbabalita ng tama. Naglilingkod ng tama.
DWIZ Balita ngayon.
Isang senador iwas muna sa pagpunta sa mga bansang ICC members. Ang detalyeng yan ihahatid ni Patrol 19 Celi Ortega Bueno.
Hindi daw muna lalabas ng bansa si Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa. Ngayong buhay na naman ang usapin hinggil sa pag-iimbestiga na International Criminal Court o ICC sa war on drugs ng nakalipas na Duterte administration. Ayon kay de la Rosa, hindi muna siya pupunta sa mga bansang miyembro at loyal sa ICC tulad sa mga bansa sa Europa. Ito ay dahil ayon kay de la Rosa, baka biglang mag-issue ng warrant of arrest laban sa kanya ang ICC habang nasa ibang bansa na miyembro ng Rome Statute. Kaya't bagamat naka-break ang session, sinabi ni De La Rosa na dito na lang muna siya sa Pilipinas. O narito kinuha ni De La Rosa ang kaibigan at kapwa niya senador na Senator Francis Tolentino para maging legal counsel niya sa kaso sa ICC para may abogado magtatanggol sa kanya oras na ipaaresto o kay mag-issue ng warrant of arrest laban sa kanya ang International Criminal Court. Ito si Patrol 19 Celi Ortega Bueno para sa impilang metodong lakas sa DWIZ. Nagbabalita ng tama, naglilingkod ng tama.
Si Regional Director ng BAR sinibak sa pwesto at inaresto dahil sa kasong syndicated estafa. Ang balitang yan ihahatid ni Patrol 11 Tina Nolasco.
Naaresto at tinanggal na sa pwesto ni PNP Chief Police General Rodolfo Azurin Jr. si Police Regional Office sa Bangsamoro Autonomous Region o BAR Regional Director Police Brigadier General John Guigoyon. Kasunod ito ng isinilbing 2 warrant of arrest ng mga tauhan ng PNP Criminal Investigation and Detection Group o CIDG kay Guyguyon sa PRO Bar Regional Headquarters sa Camp General sa Lipada, Pendato na parang Maguindanao kagabi. Ito'y dahil sa 2 magkahiwalay na kaso ng syndicated estafa na nakasampa laban sa nasabing opisyal mula sa inilabas ng Quezon City Regional Trial Court Branch 104 na may petsang December 1, 2022 at QC RTC Branch 91 na may petsang May 20, 2022. Habang sa ngayon ay nakikipag-ugnayan ng CIDG Regional Field Unit kay PRO Bar Deputy Regional Director for Administration Police Brigadier General Gil Francis Trial na ilagay sa kustudiya nito si Guyguyon at nang maiharap sa hukuman. Ito si Patrol 11, Tina Nolasco para sa impilang may todong lakas DWIZ, nagbabalita ng tama, naglilingkod ng tama.
Dagang impormasyon at mas marami pang mga balita, bisitahin kami sa aming website www.dwiz882am.com at sundan ang aming Twitter account at Facebook page DWIZ. Ako po si Mace Alinio, dayon-dayon.
DWIZ Balita ngayon!
Kasama sina Maru Pahati Sarne at si Bragi Braganza. Kasama ang mga totoong eksperto. DWIZ, DOH, Department of Health.
Okay, magandang tanghali po. We are back right now dito po sa Department of Health at ang ating guest doctor na kasama natin ngayon dito sa studio si Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo Tan. Okay, welcome back. So ang dami pong information na sinasabi ni Doc kanina. Sana po nasimulan ninyo yung programa po at ang dami mga tips that you can apply to your lifestyle and to improve your health at yung pagbaba ng mga glucose levels natin at pagbalance ng insulin level na yan. Nagugulat ako, ang dami natin mga positive na information para tungkol sa ating health. Okay. Sabi natin kanina po, bago mag-break, tatanong ko kay Doc on how to manage your glucose levels. Ayan. So, tanongin na natin kay Doc, paano po ba yun? Ang sinabi nyo about the insulin, we don't really need too much insulin in our body and paano mo papababa yung sugar level na yan? And about fasting, yan, sabi niya yan.
Okay, so first, kailangan natin ma-appreciate na kung bakit tumataas yung blood sugar natin in the first place. Yung katawan natin, alam mo ba, na considered as not essential ang glucose. Kahit pa primary fuel yung glucose sa ating katawan, it is considered not essential.
Not essential,
Kasi yung atay natin, kayang gumawa ng kanyang sariling glucose. If ever naka-fasting tayo, people before lived for months. Kahit yung Holocaust, yung mga times of famine, may mga weeks na walang makain, pero buhay pa din. And how are they able to do that? It's actually when they are not eating anymore, kung meron mang panahon na babagsak yung kanilang glucose, na-activate yung gluconeogenesis. Isa siyang paraan ng ating liver to provide glucose kapag kailangan ito. Gluco means glucose, neo means new, genesis means creation. So creation of new glucose from scratch.
From scratch.
Yung kanyang sources nanggagaling sa triglycerides, yung part ng taba na pwedeng gawing glucose, nanggagaling sa amino acids from protein breakdown. Pwede siyang gawing glucose. So, yung mataas na glucose sa ating katawan is actually not endogenous. Ibig sabihin, hindi yun ang gagaling sa atin.
Okay.
Ang nagpapataas ng glucose sa atin are mostly exogenous based sa ating kinakain. So, if you want to manage your blood sugar, if you want to lower it down, number 1, lower your sugar load in the body. Lower your sugar intake. So, ang maraming sa diabetics sinasabi, hindi na nga ako nag-aasukal, hindi na ako nagde-dessert, hindi na ako kumakain ng ice cream, hindi na ako nagso-soft drinks. Okay? Wala na akong sugar. Pero bakit mataas pa rin yung blood sugar ko?
Ba't ganun nga pala?
We go back again. Sugar has different forms. So these ones are simple sugar. Yung table sugar, yung brown sugar, white sugar, simple sugars yon.
Okay.
How about the complex sugars or
Ano
complex carbohydrates? Starch.
Ayan, rice.
Yung number 1 natin, rice.
Yes.
1 cup of rice, equivalent niyan, 10 teaspoons, 10 kutsarita ng asukal.
Wow.
Okay? Isang patatas na maliit or isang kamao ng patatas, nasa 5 teaspoons of white sugar equivalent yan.
Ang dami.
Isang slice ng bread or isang pandesal, nasa 5 teaspoons of white sugar din yung equivalent niyan. So,
Wow.
number 1 sa mga Pilipino, kanin. Number 2, mga
Bread?
tinapay.
Tinapay, oo.
And then next, yung mga pasta and noodles.
Pati yun, pati pasta.
Pasta and
Oo,
noodles.
Diyos
Even
ko.
if they are high fiber, whole wheat,
Oo, kung ano
kahit
sabihin,
ganyan. Yes, mataas yung component nila with fiber, but it doesn't mean lower yung kanilang starch level. Mataas pa rin. Maybe they are lower if bibigyan natin ng grade kung ang white sugar, yung glucose index niyan, say for example, nasa 90, yung white rice,
Yes.
yung kanyang glucose load niya nasa 70. And then yung brown rice baka nasa 68.
Ayan na, alam niyo na, may ratio na ng sugar
So,
levels yun.
sobrang konti lang. So, if we want to lower it down, remove it all together. So, kung kukunin natin yung kanin, yung noodles, yung pasta, ano na lang matitira? Wala
Wala
akong
na.
kakainin to.
Oo.
Kahit yung saging na saba, it's still full of starch.
Meron din ba yun?
Oo,
Kasi lahat ng tayo nag-gym, they say, saging saba is good.
It's good because
Oo.
of potassium, but you can get potassium from other sources na walang katumbas na sugar,
Na sugar.
spike. Okay?
Okay.
So, kung wala na yan, ano na lang yung kakainin ko? Wala ng pandesal, wala ng wheat bread, wala ng oatmeal.
Okay, yeah,
kasama
oatmeal,
din.
oo.
So, we can actually eat. If you really want carbohydrates na high fiber, then vegetables.
Vegetables,
Yung
okay.
glucose na nandyan sa isang cup ng rice, parang halos 1.5 kilo na yan kung kakainin mo ay lettuce, kung kakainin mo ay cauliflower, kung kakainin mo ay broccoli or cabbage or petchay. Because those are what we consider as low carbohydrate kind of vegetables. So mataas yung kanilang fiber content, mataas water content, mataas vitamins and mineral content, pero mababa sa glucose. Mababa sa tawag nating net carbohydrate or yung amount na carbohydrate na nagkakaroon ng impact sa blood sugar. So, ano ang ipapares mo doon? Hindi pwede tayong mabuhay na puro gulay lang.
Oo
And
naman,
sorry to
oo,
say,
syempre.
hindi talaga ako nag-agree na ang tao ay mabubuhay. We will not be as intelligent humans as we are now if we are only eating vegetables.
Right,
Okay? Kailangan natin ng essentials, di ba?
Sige, ayan na.
Not
Ano mga
essential yung glucose, di ba? So, ano yung essential? Essentials are amino acids. And
Okay.
amino acids are building blocks of proteins.
Okay, where do we get that?
Proteins. Ano ang paborito niyong karne? Manok? Baboy?
Okay.
Baka? Kalabaw? Or kambing? Seafoods. So, pwedeng isda, pwedeng shrimp, pwedeng crabs. All of those. Lahat ng, in our simple terms, ulam. So, that's why, if you want to start low carb, the most easy way, dalawa lang. Kung nahihirapan kayo, to say kung ano ba to. Is this okay with low carb or not okay with low carb? Tanungin nyo lang yung sarili nyo bago kayo kumain. Ano ba to? Ulam o gulay? Ulam at gulay. Yun lang. If hindi siya ulam at hindi siya gulay, huwag nyong kainin yan. But if it's pasok sa ulam o gulay, then pwede nyong kainin yan. So, kung tatanungin, ano ang pansit? Ulam ba yan o gulay?
Oo nga, paano yung category ng pansit?
So, hindi siya ulam, hindi siya gulay. So, huwag niyo siyang kainin.
Okay, fine. So, you won't eat. Wag na yung pansit.
So, basic lang,
hindi siya
ulam at
hindi siya
gulay.
Oo.
So, ulam at gulay. So, usually, gulay greens.
Yes,
Okay? Green leafy vegetables. Or mga kakaunting, maybe cucumber, mga ganon.
I like
celery.
cucumber.
Yeah, so those are the things that you can have. A little tomato, although it's fruit, pero kakaunti lang, those are okay. But generally, ulam at gulay, yun yung pinakamadali. And the problem with us, sasabihin, hindi ako mabubusog niyan.
Yeah.
Hindi ka
Totoo.
mabubusog if you are thinking of your plate, isang plato, isang ulam, isang gulay, at isang kanin. Kung tatanggalin mo yung kanin lang, of course, kulang. So, anong gagawin mo?
Yes.
Pwede mong doblehin yung doblehin yung
Ulam.
Pwedeng doblehin yung gulay, at kung kulang pa, pwedeng triplehin.
Okay lang yun.
So, it's
Oo.
okay. Because high protein diet, high fat diet is not okay kasabay ang high carb. Na mataas na sugar.
But if you eliminate
eliminate carbs or lower it to less than 50 grams a day, then you can actually accommodate more proteins. So, on average, kung wala namang problema sa kidneys, an average person na 50 kilogram, kayang-kayang kumain ng half kilo of lean meat in a day.
Wow.
If you are 70 kilogram, you can accommodate 1 kilogram of lean meat in a day, and in addition pa to fats. Hindi pa kasama yung taba dyan.
Wala pa yun.
Those are just the basic lean lang, yung hindi matatabang part ng karne. And where do you get your fats? If natatakot sa cholesterol, although we are not afraid of cholesterol, but if you are afraid, then you can eat the healthiest fats. Say, for example, avocado. So, isang kilo ng karne sa isang araw, 2 avocado.
Yun ang equivalent nun, oo.
At 2 avocado, pwede mong kainin
together with avocado.
Plus, kung gutom pa kayo, then you can add all of those vegetables on the side. But
Galing.
I doubt kung kaya nyong ubusin yan. Especially, ang trick kasi, when you lower your carbs, di ba? When you are dependent on carbs, yung na-mention ko a while ago, as what you've experienced also before, every 2 hours
parang you're hungry, oo.
But when you are actually on low carb, hindi ka na nakadepend sa glucose. So, in times na naubos na yung last mong kinain, your body would instantly shift into burning the fats from your own stock.
Naturally.
Yung natural mo. So, right now, my last food intake was last night.
Really? Hindi kayo nag-breakfast kanina?
Walang breakfast and late ako because I've seen patients pa this morning
busy and
until
sipag,
before
yes.
this. And as you can see, hindi naman siguro ako nanghihina.
Oo nga, parang
Because that's the beauty of low carb. Yung tawag natin being fat adapted. Yung katawan mo, marunong na, metabolically flexible na siya, hindi na kailangan maghintay pa ng 18 hours para to burn the fats. Because even if we are eating, we can continue to eat pwede tayong kumain na ang insulin natin ay hindi tumataas na spiking. So even if you're eating, you can still continue to burn fats even if hindi kayo naka-fasting.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so let's pause for a while. Alam nyo ba na ang asin maaaring gamiting gamot daw sa singaw? So let's watch this segment right now. Ang tawag po natin dito ay kitchen medicine.
Mga gamot na within your reach sa Kitchen Medicine.
Gustong-gusto mong kumain ng mga cravings mo pero hindi mo ma-enjoy? Kada nguya mo biglang sumasakit kapag nasasagi ng iyong ngipin o ng pagkain? Singaw sa bibig na naman yan. Ang singaw sa bibig o canker sore sa Ingles ay isang pangkaraniwang sakit nating mga Pinoy. Hindi pa tiyak ang sanhi nito. Kadalasan na nag-uumpisa ang singaw sa isang sugat sa bibig. Maaari ring dahilan ng dental braces, matitigas na pagkain, nakagat lang ang labi at iba pa. Ang sakit na iyong nararamdaman na dala ng singaw sa bibig o sa dila ay kadalasan nang nababawasan sa pagdaan ng mga araw. Pero may mga alternatibong gamot din na pwede mong subukan sa bahay. Narito ang mabisang lunas para sa iyo. Matagal nang ginagamit ang asin bilang mouthwash upang linisin ang mga bakterya sa loob ng bibig na nag-uugnay sa sakit sa gilagid at pagkabulok ng ngipin. Maaari ka ring magmumog nito bilang lunas sa namamagang lalamunan dahil sa taglay nitong antibiotic property. Ang isang saltwater solution ay maaaring makatulong na mapabilis ang proseso ng paggaling. Ang pagmumog ng saltwater solution ay nakakatulong sa pagpapapawi ng gum inflammation o canker sores dahil pinapatas nito ang pH level sa iyong bibig na napipigilan nito ang pagdami ng bakterya. Kung naoperahan ka sa bibig, maaari mong banlawan ng saltwater ng 3 hanggang 4 na beses sa isang araw. Maaari ka ring magbanlaw ng madalas upang makatulong na mabawasan ang pamamaga at canker sores. Madali lang ito, kaibigan. Kumuha ng isang kutsarita ng asin at ilagay sa isang tasa na may maligamgam na tubig. Huwag masyadong mainit, okay? Para hindi ka mapaso nito. Imbis na gagaling ang singaw sa iyong bibig ay baka lumala pa ito. Don't worry! Gagaling din ang iyong singaw kapag sinunod nyo ang mga payong ito. Gayunpaman, ang singaw ay gumagaling kahit hindi ginagamot ng isang doktor sa loob ng 1 hanggang 2 linggo. Pero kung pabalik-balik ang singaw at napakarami na nito, ikonsulta ka agad ito sa isang espesyalista.
Mga gamot na within your reach sa Kitchen Medicine.
Okay, balik po tayo dito sa ating show na Department of Health. Kasama natin si Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo Tan. Welcome back, Doc. Ang dami namin kwentuhan dito habang umi-air yung ating segment na Kitchen Medicine. Okay, so sige, punta po na tayo sa ating mga phone-in questions coming from PB Molina. Doc Rojo Tan, sa mga kids po ba applicable po yung no rice?
Okay, so before I answer that, kailangan kong i-remind yung lahat ng tao na actually Asians and Filipinos lang yung pinaka-dependent talaga sa rice. So of course, other nations, other races, lumaki yung mga bata doon na walang rice. Actually, the rice eaters are amongst the races na mga pandak. I'm sorry to say, hindi masyadong tumataas. Kaya
Hindi sila tumangkad.
Because the building block of growth is hindi carbohydrates. Proteins.
Protein.
So, the essential na kailangan ng mga bata is actually protein. So, instead of rice, pwedeng bigyan ng itlog, pwedeng bigyan ng chicken breast, pwedeng bigyan ng karne. Kung hindi pa kumakain ng gulay, kung hindi pa kumakain ng gulay, hindi kailangan persahin.
Hindi kailangan pilitin, oo. Kasi Pilipino, mga bata, kailangan kumain ng gulay para magandang paglaki nila.
Pero ako, hindi rin ako kumakain ng gulay noon, nung bata pa kami. Pero kami, so far, based on, as compared to others, mas matangkad kami compared to our classmates.
That's good.
Okay? So, hindi essential ang gulay. Gulay can be okay, can be good, pero hindi kailangan persahin yung bata.
Yung bata, because in time,
your body will tell you. At ako, it just came naturally na ako na rin mismo naghanap ng gulay. So, it will just happen. Pero yung building blocks ng mga bata, more on proteins and essential fats. Kaya, yung mga rasa na mataas yung protein intake, sila yung matatangkad.
Sila
mas
matangkad.
sila. So, yun actually yung kailangan i-improve sa atin. Hindi kailangan i-super eliminate talaga sa mga bata if ever ganun pa talaga. Pero you start emphasizing them that between ulam at
gulay,
rice, they will prioritize ulam.
Tsaka yung mga bata, when they see mga leafy foods, parang ayoko niyan. Di ba ganun?
At saka meron kasing problem sa mga bata. Yung sinasabi ng iba, walang ganang kumain, Dok. Sabi, walang ganang kumain. Pero kung bibigyan mo ng candy, bibigyan mo ng biskwit, kakain. It's because yung appetite nila hindi na naging tama. They are already craving for foods na hindi talaga nila essential. It's just the addictive part of our brain na already addicted to sugar. So if meron kayong mga anak, merong mga allergies, allergic rhinitis, at ADHD, yung ADHD or super, yung mga zoomies, yung mga hindi mapagsabihan.
Yung mabibilis na mga
recall anong last na kinain. It's mostly sugar-loaded.
Baka mga nag-soft drinks yun, mga
it's
ganyan.
already affecting the behaviors of children at kawawa yung kanilang growth.
All right, there you go. Next question po natin from Dinaba Erpole Lure. Is that the name? Doc Tan, follower mo po ako sa FB. Sinusunod ko ang low carb niya talaga. Pumayat ako at bumaba ang sugar ko.
Wala siyang tanong.
Wala siyang tanong. But thank you very much for letting us know na follower mo po si Doc. Next one po si Rosemary from Malabon. Sarap po kasi ng Filipino foods kahit simple lang. Uso ang eat all you can. So I think you have to avoid that also.
Yeah, that's also one of the problem ngayon kasi dumadami ang unlimited rice for free. So yung nangyayari dyan is hindi talaga siya counterproductive. That is why kahit pa naghihirap, like sasabihin mo nga this family is hindi mayaman, yung ano lang, yung sweldo tama lang, simple lang, pero bakit ang lalaki ng tiyan?
Oo nga. Parang ang tataba, busog na busog yung dating.
And it's not because of amount of money that you have. It's the choices that you buy.
It's the choices of food that you buy and eat.
Kasi yung mindset na gusto ko sana makorek, yung mindset na makakain lang ng 3 beses sa isang araw na may kanin. Kapag sweldo, bigas lang yung uunahin. Okay na. When that one eventually, by 40 years old at most, diabetic na yan. By 35 years old, magkakaroon na yan ng mga sakit-sakit sa katawan.
Parang mali yung mga frame of mind. Even though they think na nakakatipid sila, they know how to prioritize, and ito yung mga chosen food intake nila. Yung pala yun.
At hindi rin pwedeng kanin lang at gulay lang lahat. Kanin at gulay. You're actually on undernourishment on the proteins and fats
undernourishment.
on the side.
Kasi feeling namang tao, pag naggulay ka kanin, okay lang. Busog ako and I eat healthy.
And that's one of the stories na hindi ko makalimutan when I was still on training. I was trained as head and neck surgeon. So we operate on cancers of the thyroid, cancers of the parotids, at yung mga nanay na matatanda na, Dok, anong ginawa ko? Bakit hindi naman ako kumakain ng baboy? Hindi ako kumakain ng karne. Bihira lang kaming nag-iisda o nag-chicken. Panay gulay lang yung kain ko. Pero bakit nagka-cancer pa rin ako?
Ano ibig sabihin nun?
So yung tanong, sino nagsabi sa'yo nakasalanan sana ng baboy o ng karne ang pagkakaroon ng cancer. Ano ang
Hindi.
kinakain mo? Gulay. Ano kasama ng gulay? May kanin ba yan? Syempre, Dok. Hindi pwedeng walang kanin. So, I'm not demonizing rice, but at least we can have this idea na hindi siya pang unlimited. Hindi siya the healthiest kind of food.
Kasi sila gusto nila, busog sila, happy sila, and that's it.
At yung busog na yon, hindi siya sustainable. Kasi after 2 hours, 3 hours, gutom ka na naman
Gutom ka
ulit.
na naman.
But if your last intake like me, yung last meal intake ko, actually yung kinain ko pagkahapon, maliit na lang. Yung mga low carb na bread na lang. But yung main meal ko was just liempo and lechon manok na hindi naman ganun karami. Around lunchtime pa yesterday.
Konti lang,
And that will sustain you for another 24 hours.
Let me try that.
Kayang-kaya mo yan.
Pero yung mga early dinner, okay po yun, ano?
Yes, okay na okay yun. And if ever merong sa inyong ma-excited magsimula, I hope you can watch other videos. At yung isang technique lang, when you start low carb, you increase more of your salt intake. At least yung ating video kanina, no? Salt,
Yes, salt,
for singaw. And salt actually is very essential because the moment you lower down your sugar intake, ilalabas mo lahat yan. Iihi ka ng marami and you can have hyponatremia. Bababa ang salt mo sa katawan. So you have to replenish that. So at least 1 teaspoon in a day.
Ng salt.
Ng salt. And if you can tolerate up to 3 teaspoons rock salt yan, ha? If yung mga powdered salt. So half of that. So
how do you intake that? Do you mix it with your food or you put it in water? You drink it?
Usually it's just in food. Kasi kung yung water ko, I want my water clean and pure.
Yeah.
So diretso.
With
But for
electrolytes ba yan?
For others, kung gusto nila, salt in water, that's already electrolyte water.
Yeah. Okay.
And if ever you try fasting, diba, it's so good that you're ending your last meal by 6 o'clock.
Yes.
If ever you will start fasting, for example, na by gusto mo 8 o'clock ka pang kumain and medyo merong sakit ng ulo or something, you can take a pinch of salt in your mouth and then drink. After 5 minutes, it
I
will
just
be
heard
gone.
that lately and now you're confirming it.
Yes,
Ang galing,
that's the salt fix.
Salt fix. So pag natulog ka po, ma'am ng maaga, sorry, and then you wake up 12 hours later, or maybe longer pa yung pagkain mo, that's also good. Kasi when you're sleeping, that's also part of fasting.
That's very nice. That's why actually we are fasting on a day-to-day basis. Yung atin lang ngayon, in-extend natin yung overnight fast natin. And it's so good if you sleep on an empty stomach. Kasi yung pagtulog natin, it's not just resting our muscles. It's actually repairing yung lahat ng cells na kailangang i-repair. At hindi niya yon magagawa kung ang katawan mo ay busy, kakatunaw ng last ng kinain.
Nagbaburn pa
siya. But if you will sleep on an empty stomach, at least rule 4 to 6 hours before bedtime, yung last meal intake, that's going to be very beneficial for your body.
Galing. Wow, thank you very much, Doc. It has been really great to have you here sa program dahil ang dami mga information, ang dami mga tips to help you guys lower your blood sugar and yung proper food intake po natin and yung mga cholesterol level niyo kung paano niyo mapangalagaan. Ayan. Okay, so we don't have time anymore. Meron pa tayo mga questions dito. But thank you very much. Sige po, you can give us your advice and then yung mga social media platform ninyo, you can mention it. And of course, your clinic where they can visit you.
Right now, yung clinics natin is just by appointment. But for all info regarding nutrition, since my clinic is mostly on my surgical practice, I am a practicing surgeon. I do facial plastic, rhinoplasty, blepharoplasty, yung anon. Pero on my nutrition side, you can find it usually everything. Sobrang dami nang gumaling just by watching the free videos in our YouTube channel.
Meron
and
doon.
also Facebook. So Facebook, we have 2 pages, Diet Doctora and Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo Tan. In YouTube naman, it's Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo Tan. TikTok, nandun din ako pero wala lang mga kung ano-ano lang nung nandun. So I hope to see you
Parang
there and
kayo doon.
I pray that you will be on your road to healing. So maraming salamat po. And of course, you can join Life Without Rice. Nearing 500,000 na po yung member nun.
Wow!
It's a Facebook group na kung saan kung naguguluhan kayo kung paano kumain ng rice. Every day, hundreds of posts of Filipinos from all over the world and here in the Philippines kung ano yung pinaprepare nilang riceless meals.
Yan. Kung hindi mo kaya na hindi mag-rice, bakit sila kaya nila? So, we can all try and go to that road to
Healing.
Thank you very much, Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo Tan, for being part of Department of Health. Siguro po we can invite you again soon. We can talk about your other specialties like the ENT and facial plastic rhinoplasty surgery, mga ganun. Kasi ngayon na-focus tayo sa low-carb fasting. Okay, ayan po. Diyan po nagtatapos ang ating programang Department of Health. Susunod na po ang show na In the Heart of Business with Miss Maru Pahati Sarne and Lito Gagni. We'll see you again soon. Thank you very much, Doc.
Thank you.
Bye.
May tanong ka ba sa kalusugan mo? Marami ka na bang nakakausap na nagsasabing baka malala na ang sakit mo? May mga nalalaman ka ba sa social